always on the go, but the day just won't be one without your Hollywood fix. Let Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast take care of that. An all-inclusive look of pop culture.
What's up, you guys, and welcome to GSMC Entertainment Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Cynthia, and happy Monday, everyone. I hope you all are feeling great today and had a great weekend. I had a pretty productive weekend. I actually went to a Black Lives Matter protest here in Sacramento, and it was 100% peaceful. It was absolutely beautiful to attend. I'm so glad that I went. I actually went with 5 of my best friends who actually all of them are Black or partially Black. So it was very important for me to show support and to, march alongside them, to end and advocate racial equality and end racial injustices. And I'm so glad I was a part of it. It's not my first protest I've ever attended. I actually attended a Black Lives Matter protest like 4 years ago here in Sacramento as well. And like I said, it was very beautiful, very peaceful. I was very touched by all the speakers who were there. The mayor of Sacramento was also speaking, and there were some live performances, and it was just like overall beautiful energy, very minimal police in sight, which actually made the protest very peaceful. And I'm so glad that I attended. I will say I was pretty nervous. I was contemplating going just because we are still in the middle of a global health pandemic, and COVID is still hanging around. She hasn't gone anywhere. But everybody were wearing their mask. I was wearing my mask, and I will actually get tested within a couple weeks. And, I'm just doing my best to stay away from everybody. And like I said, I'm so glad that I went and showed my support. And not everyone is, comfortable going to protests, especially with what we've seen in the media. Things can get out of hand. And I understand some people may not be comfortable going out and marching and protesting, and also due to health reasons with COVID. So there are other ways to show support, such as signing petitions. I feel like that's the easiest thing you can do to show support, is by signing petitions. They literally take 2 seconds to sign. You can also donate, spread the word, educate yourself. I educated myself as well over the weekend. I watched the 13th documentary, which I highly, highly suggest that you guys go watch it. It's about an hour and a half documentary, and it's basically highlighting how in the 13th Amendment, there's like a loophole, and I won't get too much into it right now, but I do highly recommend you guys go watch that and educate yourself about a little bit more about our government. And I learned a lot. And the 13th Amendment is on Netflix. And then I also watched over the weekend Malcolm X. I didn't know there was a movie with Denzel Washington and Angela Bassett and others. And the movie was filmed in 1992, or it was released in 1992. And to be honest, I didn't really know a lot about Malcolm X. I think the first time I heard about Malcolm X was Beyonce's performance, her Super Bowl performance a few years back. I heard there was a lot of controversy. I don't know why. There was talk about the Black Panthers and Malcolm X. So that was honestly the first time I ever even heard about Malcolm X. And that wasn't that long ago. And so I watched the movie, and I learned a lot about what he was preaching, the movement, what he stood for. And it is a 3-hour long film. I didn't expect that, but I was thoroughly learning and entertained from beginning to end. And after I watched the movie, I did some research as well because I wanted to learn more, and I also wanted to fact check and make sure that, you know, the story made sense, that this movie wasn't just for pure entertainment. I wanted to make sure that what I was watching was of educational value, and it absolutely was. And I learned a lot over the weekend. So you guys, there's more that you can do besides protesting. If you're not okay with that, you can just watch these documentaries, Malcolm X and the 13th. I think it's either the 13th. I think that's just what it's called, the documentary. And these are both on Netflix. So I started this podcast off with my entertainment picks of the week. So those are my two documentaries that I recommend, or one documentary, the other one is a movie, but it's pretty spot on with Malcolm X's life. And I'm actually going to share with you guys a couple more entertainment picks of the week in today's episode at the very end. So a lot of entertainment picks of the week because there's been a lot of things out there that I've been engaging in to educate myself on our current social climate. And speaking of protests, I want to first talk about YG's protest, Black Lives Matter protest that he actually put on yesterday, Sunday, in Los Angeles. It was actually one of the largest Black Lives Matter protests to have occurred since the murder of George Floyd. It was LA's largest protest. It made its way through Hollywood streets with huge celebrities, you know, showing support. YG used the protest as, you know, a powerful backdrop, a powerful setting for his new music video that I actually will not name. I will not say the name of the single today just because some of you may take it very offensively and I don't want to put it out there. So you guys can Google his latest single, and he used that powerful backdrop of the protesters as the setting for the music video. And it was extremely peaceful. Some of my friends who live in LA actually attended and they recorded the event, and they said it was extremely powerful and moving, and most importantly, peaceful. It was a peaceful demonstration of more than 50,000 people. 50,000 people began, marching a Sunday on Hollywood Boulevard, and the aerial views were epic. They had some drones, hovering over the crowd. And if you guys follow YG, or if you've seen, videos or pictures of the LA protest that happened yesterday, it was literally like lines of people. Like, you did not see the end. And it was so amazing to see so many people coming together and showing support for the Black community. And YG, he teamed up with the Black Lives Matter LA and joined activist and Black Lives Matter co-founder Patrisse Cullors at the front of the crowd to share some words and explain the importance of using his voice. Since YG does have a tremendous platform, it's crucial that he knows how to use his platform and voice his concerns for his community for a call to action. Much of the crowd came equipped with face masks, which is very important. Many people showed up with their homemade Black Lives Matter signs and messaging to remember the death of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and unfortunately so many other Black people killed by police. Speaking of which, police presence during the march, yesterday's LA march, was minimal, and it remained a totally peaceful event. Very beautiful to see and hear that. Other celebrities that were in attendance of YG's Black Lives Matter protest yesterday included Jamie Foxx, J-Lo and A-Rod, Machine Gun Kelly, Vanessa Hudgens, Karrueche Tran, Marlon Wayans, and many others. There were also separate protests in other parts of LA as well yesterday, including Compton, which was attended by Russell Westbrook, Cassie, and her husband, Alex Fine. So there were multiple protests occurring throughout LA yesterday, but the biggest one happened to be in Hollywood, on Vine Street, which was organized by Black Lives Matter co-founder Patrisse Cullors and YG. So yesterday's Sunday event followed the success of protests last Tuesday, which ended outside the home of LA Mayor Eric Garcetti. Lizzo, Kehlani, and Common were among those who marched last Tuesday. It was shortly after that protest when Eric Garcetti announced an enormous budget cut for the LAPD. And of course, the LA protests were not the only ones over the weekend. As I mentioned, that I attended one here in Sacramento, and it was absolutely beautiful, peaceful. It was amazing to attend. Several major cities and small towns throughout the U.S. have kept the demonstrations going in a continued show of support for ending systemic racism and police brutality. So overall, a highly successful weekend full of protests, and it was just absolutely beautiful to see, attend, and read of all of the protests going on throughout the United States and throughout the world. Actually, it's global, so it's beautiful to see, and I'm so glad that I'm a part of it. And you guys, I'm going to take a very brief break right now. When we come back, we're going to talk about Kylie Cosmetics pulling up. We'll be right back.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now, don't bother, what's hot on Netflix, and everything in between. That's GSMCpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Hey guys, and welcome back to GSMC Entertainment Podcast. So we just got wrapping up about YG's organized, peaceful Black Lives Matter protest that happened in LA yesterday, which again, I want to reiterate that has been the largest show out since the murder of George Floyd, with over 50,000 people showing up in support. Absolutely amazing. And now talking about Kylie Jenner's enormous beauty brand, Kylie Cosmetics, they participated in the Pull Up or Shut Up initiative. And I'm going to read to you guys what exactly this initiative is. It's basically asking brands that have released public statements in support of the Black community to show us the receipts, basically. Like, show us that you are truly for equality in the workplace, and show us how many Black individuals you have in leadership positions, in executive positions, and it's in the name, Pull Up or Shut Up. So I'm actually going to read to you guys the initiative's statement on Instagram, which you can find their Instagram handle at Pull Up for Change if you want to learn more about what they're trying to do. So this is their statement towards all brands. Dear brands, thank you for the public statements of support for the Black community. Whereas we understand and appreciate the support, be conscious that to piggyback off a trending hashtag when you have been and continue to be a part of the problem is once again appropriating and exploiting the Black community. So we ask all brands who have released a statement of support to publicly release within the next 72 hours the number of Black employees they have in their organizations at corporate level. We also need to know the number of Black people you have in leadership roles. You all have statements and policies about being equal opportunity employers. So show us the proof. Pull up or shut up. So, I mean, it's pretty obvious. It's in the name, and so many, actually not that many. I'm gonna be truthful. Not that many brands have pulled up or shut up. So many of these brands have, put out statements saying, yes, we're here for the Black community, yada, yada, yada. But pull up or shut up initiative is saying, all right, well, show us the receipts or shut up. You're not really with it. So Kylie Cosmetics was one of the brands that pulled up. And I'll also list some of the other brands that pulled up. And the Pull Up for Change Instagram account, which was created by Yuma's beauty founder and CEO Sharon Chuter, recently called on cosmetic brands, and Kylie Jenner was one of them. And over the weekend, Kylie Cosmetics took part in the initiative and revealed its percentage of Black employees. And they put out that they have 13% Black representation, and leadership team consists of Kylie Jenner and her mom, Kris Jenner. And Pull Up for Change stated, thank you for the transparency, #pull up or shut up. Kylie Jenner's beauty brand also disclosed that its staff also consisted of 100% women identifying, 53% white, and 47% BIPOC, which stands for Black, Indigenous, and People of Color. It's BIPOC. To be honest, I've never heard of this statement. I've heard of People of Color, POC, so I'm not really sure what's the difference between BIPOC versus POC, but she states that 47% of the people employed in her brand are Black, Indigenous, and People of Color. And this is what Kylie Cosmetics' Instagram account had to say. Kylie Cosmetics is here for Pull Up for Change, for our team, and for the Black community. We are proud of the diversity within our company with a team of Black, white, Asian, Native American, Hispanic, and Middle Eastern women. As our team grows, we commit to a continued focus on ethnic diversity in the workplace and the recruitment of Black employees. The numbers you see above represent the people at our Kylie Cosmetics Kylie Skin HQ. And Kylie Cosmetics also thanked Pull Up for Change and its initiative for bringing an important issue to the forefront of the conversation in our industry, which is absolutely true, because I feel like, when we sign or we apply for jobs, they always have this statement at the top of the job application or at the end of the job application stating that they are, air quote, equal employers. So I love that the initiative is calling out not just beauty brands, but all brands, and saying, well, really show us that you're equal employers, So I absolutely love it. And here's more on the statement from Kylie Cosmetics brand, which was also signed by Kylie Jenner. As a beauty brand built around community, we always have and always will stand for inclusivity and have set to empower our customers, followers, and team members. Our team has signed petitions, texted, sent emails, made calls, and come together in solidarity over this last week. But these are not one-time actions, and this is not a momentary commitment. We will continue to educate ourselves and our followers on how we can come together to fight against racism, and will celebrate, uplift, and empower the Black community through our channels. Change does not happen overnight. This is an ongoing dialogue, and we hope you all will continue to be vocal about what you want to see, not only from us, but from the beauty community and from each other. We're in this together. And apparently Kylie Cosmetics, they have donated to 5 organizations, which include Youth Justice Coalition, Black Lives Matter, Campaign Zero, NAACP, and Equal Justice Initiative. In addition to Kylie Cosmetics, countless of beauty brands have joined the Pull Up or Shut Up initiative. On that list include Tarte Cosmetics, Beauty Blender, Anastasia Beverly Hills, Beauty Bakery, Shiseido, Glossier, Mented Cosmetics, Tatcha, and many others. So I'm not sure if there's also Epsi and Murad. So Ipsy said that 4% representation across corporate and 7% of the leadership roles of in their company are Black. And then Murad pulled up. They said that 5% Black representation across corporate and 10% representation in leadership roles. Shiseido posted an update. They updated their numbers, and they have 5% Black representation in management roles and 9% representation in director level roles and up. And let's see, what are other brands? We have Sephora. This one's actually a very interesting one because I've heard a lot of controversy with Sephora. And their data includes in their stores that they have 14% Black representation across the USA and 6% in leadership, including store and warehouse, which I'm going to be honest here. That's including store and warehouse. 6% in leadership roles, including store and warehouse. I don't think that's an amazing number. It's not 6% in warehouse or 6% in store. That's combined. So to be honest, I think that's not that great. That's pretty terrible. And that's not even including, like, they probably don't have a lot of Black representation in executive leadership. And that's what was asked for from the Pull Up for Change initiative. Sephora just shared their data. That's their store data. They didn't include higher up. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the Sephora one. I think that all brands, not just beauty brands, should make a continuous effort in including more Black voices in the workspace, but at higher level positions, in leadership roles, in executive roles. It's very important to include different ethnic groups and racial backgrounds in higher level positions, so that way everybody is equally represented and everybody has a voice in the in the brand and what changes they want to create within the brand, the company. So it's not just one perspective, which tends to be the majority of the time a white perspective. So you guys, I'm going to cut into another very brief break right now. When we come back, we're going to move on to more entertainment picks of the week. We'll be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
What's up, guys, and welcome to GSMC Entertainment Podcast. So we just got done wrapping up talking about the Pull Up or Shut Up initiative, which asks for majority beauty brands, but other brands to show the receipts, to show the public exactly how much equal representation is included in their brands, in their companies. And we're now going to move on to my entertainment pick of the week. I know I gave a couple already in the very beginning of today's episode. I talked about a couple of Netflix shows, documentaries, movies that I watched over the weekend, which again, I highly suggest you watch: The 13th and Malcolm X. And this week's entertainment pick of the week or more, I have two singles that I want to talk about. Both of these singles highlight the racial inequality and police brutality that many Black Americans experience here. And the first single that I want to talk about is Trey Songz single titled 2020 Riots, How Many Times? This particular song shines a light on police brutality and institutionalized racism on his new track. And the singer's response to the police killing of George Floyd. And 2020 Riots, How Many Times? This song is definitely the new protest anthem. I have been playing this song over and over again for a couple of reasons. One, I've actually been a Trey Songz fan since the begin, literally forever, since he first came up in the music industry, in the music scene in 2005. He came out, rocking his braids, and he's always been one of my favorite singers. The very first concert I've ever attended, I was 16. I was in high school. I think I was a junior or senior. And my first concert was Trey Songz Chapter 5 tour in Oakland. And I was obsessed. He is amazing live. And he's always used his platform for the good. I love that he's, we know a lot about him, but we also don't. He's pretty low key. And, I'm a fan. I've always been a fan of him, and I'll continue to always support him. And, I love that he put this record out highlighting what's going on in our world right now. This is what Trey Songz had to say about the song. 3 or 4 nights ago, I woke up in the middle of my sleep. I couldn't sleep. My chest was hurting. I got up and called my producer, Troy Taylor, and I said, we've got to make music that really touches the soul, that really addresses what the world is feeling right now, especially our people. So we came up with 2020 Riots, How Many Times? With the words in the song, I just wanted to speak to everyone's hearts and acknowledge the pain and anguish everyone is going through right now. I know this ain't usually my message, and you're not used to hearing this from me, but this is the person I've always been. So that was Trey Songz' statement in regard to Rolling Stone, in regards to how the creation of the song came up. And I was pleasantly shocked or surprised when I heard this song came out. Trey Songz tends to write music, a lot of romance, love songs, R&B, like baby making music. So this definitely was a little bit of a shock when he released it. But as he said in his statement, that this usually isn't his message, but this is the person he's always been. And if this is a song you really have to digest the lyrics. They're pretty straightforward. Honestly, it's not like you have to think too much about it. The lyrics definitely speak to you. They definitely spoke to me. I won't sing because I definitely can't sing, but I'll read some of the lyrics throughout the song. How many mothers have to cry? How many brothers gotta die? How many more times? And this was all backed by a piano melody, and it's a simple beat, and it was like a full gospel choir. It's very I absolutely love it. And he continues to go, how many more marches? How many more signs? How many more lives? How many more times? All these beautiful, precious Black lives lost in the name of senseless white pride. And I mean, the lyrics, they really move you. And they just touch you. Like I said, it's pretty straightforward. It's in the name of the song, 2020 Riots, How Many Times? You don't need to think too much about what he's talking about in the song. And even better, proceeds from 2020 riot, How Many Times, will benefit both Black Lives Matter and the Community Justice Exchange National Bail Fund Network. And this is another reason why I have been playing the song over and over again. Of course, I love Trey. I love his vocals. I love the song. But I also want to continue playing it because the proceeds are going towards organizations that are fighting and dedicating to Black lives and protecting those lives. This is just one of the many reasons why I love Trey Songz. He always uses his platform to shed light on the racial injustices of the world, and he uses his music to touch so many people, and he's really about it. As he said in his statement, this is the person he's always been. He's been going to protests. He's shared multiple donation links and petition links. He's been using his enormous platform in the most useful way during this time. And he has previously before as well. Anytime there's unfortunately, another Black man or woman murdered in the hands of police, he always speaks out. So he's always been vocal when it's needed to be. And again, that's one of the many reasons why I love him and support him and his music. And again, the single is 2020 Riots, How Many Times. You'll absolutely love it. It's it features a gospel choir in it. And it's just I love it. I absolutely love it. Another song that's pretty opposite. It's definitely an opposite vibe of Trey Songz' slow ballad, 2020 Riot, How Many Times. We have now Meek Mill's single, Other Side of America. And Meek Mill has released a new song titled Other Side of America. On the track, Meek Mill addresses inequality and racism in the United States. And it's pretty self-explanatory. It's in the title of the track, Other Side of America. And this track opens with comments that Donald Trump made about the Black community at an August 2016 rally in a predominantly white Michigan suburb. The song closes with an excerpt from Meek Mill's 2018 conversation on CNN with Michael Smerconish. And Meek Mill said, "I grew up in America in a ruthless neighborhood where we were not protected by police." And Meek Mill, he basically breaks down in this song the Black experience, on the other side of America. And, the other side of America where I will never really get to, I had the privilege of not experiencing because I am not Black. And this track, just like Trey Songz, is very worth listening to. This is more a hyped hip hop song, so it's it goes in very hard. Trey's was more mellow, slow ballad, gospel like. Meek Mill's, he goes in. It's hard hitting. This is definitely a song I would work out to because I'm outraged. I'm outraged by what's going on in our world right now, and this song will really just get me pumped and hyped and angry. Meek Mill, he's an outspoken advocate for criminal justice reform. In 2019, he co-founded the Reform Alliance with Jay-Z, Van Jones, and others. He's also advocated for reform in the probation and parole system of his home state of Pennsylvania. So for those of you who are not aware of Meek Mill's efforts in reforming the probation and parole system, Meek Mill got locked up, I'm not sure exactly, probably a couple years ago or maybe a year ago, for violating his probation. He got, I think, arrested when he was younger, in his teens, for something on a bike or a dirt bike, something like that. I'm not 100% sure on his story. And then years later, they sent him back to jail for breaking or violating something on his probation, for which again happened to be for him being on a bike or something like that. Something very petty. It's a very petty charge. So that's kind of when Meek Mill became an outspoken advocate for criminal justice reform. And the organization that he co-founded with Jay-Z, Reform Alliance, this organization's mission is to advance criminal justice reform and eliminate outdated laws that perpetuate injustice, starting with probation and parole. If you want to learn more about Meek Mill's case and his efforts for criminal justice reform and how he personally has been negatively affected by our criminal justice system, then watch the docuseries Free Meek. I believe it's on Amazon Prime. I know it's definitely not on Netflix because I would have watched it by now. And that's actually the next documentary or docuseries that I'll be watching to educate myself. And I've heard from my friends who've watched Free Meek, they said that that docuseries makes a compelling case for probation reform. So I'm definitely excited to watch it. So again, I can continue to educate myself and continue to use my voice, continue to use my privilege to uplift those of the Black community. And you guys, that's going to wrap up today's episode here at the GSMC Entertainment Podcast. Again, we're still going strong with the Black Lives Matter movement. This is not a moment. This is a movement. And I'm here for it. And I love that all of these celebrities are pulling up. All of these celebrities are using their enormous platforms and to speak out to the youth, to use their voices in a positive manner to highlight the racial injustices and police brutality in this country. And again, thank you YG, thank you Trey Songz, thank you Kylie Cosmetics, thank you Meek Mill, and all the other celebrities who have pulled up and showed their support for the movement. If you guys liked what I had to discuss on today's episode, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff, because that tremendously helps the show. And I'll catch you guys here next week.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.